Hi guys, Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with a bins haul with a little teeny tiny snack size thrift haul to add into it. And I'll tell you, I did not have a ton of time at the bins, and it was one of those days where the get-ins were really good. I've got some really good style-based sourcing stuff here. I've got some great killer BOLO brands. I've got some very cool vintage, lots and lots and lots to talk about. But before we get started here, guys, if this is your first time here, if this is your first time stumbling on my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I am Julia. That is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and the business of reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, I think I've got about 37 pieces here, maybe 36 pieces here. So again, lots to talk about. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink. You know I've got my matcha latte. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the goods. All right, so we will kick this off with the stuff that I grabbed at the thrift store, mostly because that is the bag on top of the stack. So the first piece I found was this great Varley ottoman rib. This is an ottoman rib, if you are unfamiliar. If you've ever seen that kind of fabric, usually you see it kind of horizontal on the bodice. It goes side to side. Just a kind of a descriptive keyword to make sure that you're using. But this is from Varley. Varley's a really high-end kind of athleisure wear brand, and some of their stuff goes for crazy prices. This little quarter zip in particular goes for somewhere between $45 and $80. I've seen kind of prices all over the place. It's a size extra large. It is in fantastic condition, and I think that this will sell in no time flat. This is the kind of stuff that, even though it's a heavier piece, it's a bulkier piece, it will sell pretty much any time of year. This is the kind of thing that somebody will throw on a summer night when it gets a little bit chilly. It's not like a sweater that's too heavy. I will say there was definitely another reseller in the store while I was there, and he went right past that. So thank you. So the next piece I picked up is this 90s vintage sweatshirt, and really the only reason I picked this up is that number one, it's JanSport. So back in the 90s, JanSport was king, and it is Michigan State Spartans. I probably wouldn't have picked this up if this was a smaller college. Maybe the Bins Bros would know a little bit more about whether or not this kind of specific sweatshirt does really well no matter what the school is. But generally, unless it's something that's old, 70s, 60s, 50s, I'm really only going to be picking up kind of bigger name colleges. So around here, we've got UC Riverside and UC Irvine and
Cal State Dominguez Hills.
Those schools are never going to sell as well, at least in more modern pieces, than a UCLA, which is a school that'll have fans kind of above and beyond the people who actually went there, right? Whereas UC Riverside and UC Irvine are yes, of course, there's people who love the schools and are proud to wear it on the sweatshirts, but it's generally people that have gone there or families of folks that have gone there. Where something like UCLA, USC, Berkeley, whatever, these are schools that are going to have fans kind of above and beyond the alumni base. So Michigan State definitely in that camp. I have no idea what I'll get for this. This thing is broken in to perfection, maybe $30 or so. Could be 100, could be 20. So we'll find out, but definitely had to pick that up. Especially considering its age and considering how broken in it is. It's in very good condition, no stains, no fraying at the seams or anything like that. Next up, this is from a brand I want you to keep your eyes out for sure. This is definitely a more insignificant piece, but this is from Alex Crane. And this is a 100% linen polo shirt. Downside on this one is it is a size extra small, but on really nice brands like this, I don't think that that's going to be too much of a deterrent. I mean, obviously it doesn't have as big of a buyer base as a size large men's will, but Alex Crane is very, very expensive. Their pieces are absolutely gorgeous. A brand to keep your eyes out for sure. I've never found this in the bins. And, again, if this is something that you're into or somebody in your life is into, definitely a brand to keep an eye out for in terms of shopping. I want to say that this retails at about $158. So again, 100% linen jersey polo shirt. And on the resale market for this, I'll probably see somewhere between 30 and 50. So it's something you can get a very good deal on for incredibly high quality items. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. If I could live in nothing but linen jersey, I would do it in a heartbeat. I think maybe in terms of at least practicality, because I would live in silk if it wasn't so dang difficult to take care of. But linen jersey, the absolute best. Oh my God. Next up, I was so excited when I found this, and it is funny how much more orange this is looking in the monitor than this is in real life. This is, I think, like 1970s or 1960s vintage chemise Lacoste, which I believe was the original name of Lacoste. So I think that this is actually before. Oh no, this was sold at Bullock's Wilshire. This is definitely when they were being imported into the States. A lot of times in these vintage pieces, it'll say like David Crystal for chemise Lacoste because he or his company were the people that were like bringing it into the States. But I love this so much. So again, sold at Bullock's Wilshire from the Play Deck. So I'm assuming that was like their sportswear. And this is a little tennis dress. And the funny thing is, so when I was looking at it, it was missing some buttons and I'm like, oh no. And then I see up here, the missing buttons are there. They're just like pinned onto the dress. So I'm gonna go ahead and reattach them, or I might take it to somebody to reattach them just because of the way that they're reattached. I'm not sure if I can do that. I'll look it up. And I should see about $100 for this. That's about the going rate for these vintage tennis dresses. And this does actually have a belt that cinches in the waist. I love this so much. I think that this will sell in no time flat, especially with summer coming up around the corner. But I will tell you, so this looks very orange in the viewfinder again. This is like a hot salmony pink. Has a few light picks on it, but no staining, no anything like that. It just perfect condition. I should also note that nothing I bought at the thrift store was outside of the normal like $3.99 for shirts, $6.99 for sweaters, $8.99 for dresses kind of price brackets. Nothing was, as we say, jacked up in price. Next up, I found this great vintage, this is Y2K vintage Max Mara. And this shirt, like anybody who's about my age will remember these shirts very well. So it is a little blouson, black and white striped, surplice body top. I felt this before I saw the tag. I'm like, oh, that's so nice. But Max Mara, one of my favorite labels to find, made in Italy. So something like this, I will lean into those Y2K keywords and get this listed. I just think that this is so cute. And for something like this, I'll probably see like $35 to $50 on. I'll have to do a little bit more research on like more like of the Y2K era Max Mara pieces. This is certainly never anything that I've had my hands on, but it's a very expensive brand. Like their jackets are in the $4,000 range and what they are most known for. But I'm sure that was like $295 back in the Y2K era, which is like crazy work. Very expensive. And then finally, speaking of Y2K, this dress has no tags on it whatsoever. It's got like the remnants of a tag, but it was something that was just so of the era and so beautifully made that I had to grab it. So first and foremost, it's silk. The shell is silk chiffon and the slip is also silk. Whatever this is, very high quality. So it's got that little V-neck top. It's got the gathers over the midsection. The bottom is midi length, all bias cut, beautifully finished, ever so slightly asymmetric there at the bottom. Definitely something I have to photograph on the mannequin to make that like middle of the bodice make sense. But if you look really closely, like those are taped over the ruches. Like this is beautifully made. Whoever this was, and I haven't been able to find anything on Google image search, but whoever it was, this was very high end. Just with both layers being silk. And again, it's definitely of the era, so I think the style will carry it no matter what. I still think, even if I can't figure out who made this, between the materialization and the style and like the era that this was made, I still think I'm probably gonna get somewhere between like 50 and 60 bucks. But if this was like a designer piece and I can figure out who it was and all that kind of stuff, I mean, this could go well into the hundreds of dollars. But I think at a minimum, I'm gonna see like 50, 60 bucks on this. And it is gorgeous. Also, I'm gonna have to do some measuring to figure out the size because, like I said, all tags from like both pieces have been removed. So that'll be my wormhole as soon as I can get this thing photographed and really start like Google image searching it with a little bit more form to it. All right, now we are on to the bins. Where do I start? We start with a sip of matcha. Okay, so the first piece we have here, this is a label I love to find and for like a very specific reason. So this is Free People Beach. By far the least common tag that I see from Free People, but also like pretty much universally the fastest moving of their sub-brands. And the funny thing about Free People Beach is like anytime I find a pair of the pants, I automatically assume that it is the bottom half of a two-piece set because I've had that experience over and over and over again, and they always sell so well. So these are like an open weave knit. I don't know how well you can see how open weave that is, but it's super cool. It's wide leg, it's pull on. This is something you could throw on over a swimsuit or whatever. It's a size medium. It's a viscose cotton blend. It feels like cotton with a little bit of a drape to it. I will probably see somewhere like $30 to $45 on these. And again, that has been my experience time and time again with these Free People Beach pants, especially the ones that I can kind of double dip with the keywords in terms of like pants and also like swim cover up. They sell so well for me. I would not be surprised if these sell within a week or so. Especially because I've been selling resort wear at a crazy clip right now. The day that I'm filming this is Valentine's Day, and most spring breaks start in about 2 weeks. Just to give you guys that kind of concept. I get that most of the country is in a deep freeze, but like if you have not started, get that resort wear listed ASAP. Next up, this is a little style pickup. This is Urban Outfitters. And I, again, do not pick up a ton of Urban Outfitters. I'm very selective with what I grab. But this was just too cute. So it's this cute little sweater, little baby blue with some pink flowers on it. It's a cropped length. It's got the cutest little like gem buttons. This always reminds me, like my mom, like I'm sure most of our moms had a big tin of buttons, and I used to love to like, you know, stick my hand in there and like play around, but there were always like a handful of these like vintage gem buttons that she had in there, and they were like my favorite. I like something I could never explain to people who are like 20 who grew up with digital things. Just the joy of like rifling around in a button tin. It was so pure and so real, and I'm sure all of us had the same experience. In fact, let me know what your favorite button was in your mom's button tin, because I know I'm not the only person that has a favorite button. But either way, something like this, again, it's Urban Outfitters. They don't retail all that much, but I'll still probably see like 20, 25 bucks on this. And I have no doubt that this will fly out of my closet. That is the one thing with Urban Outfitters. I don't pick it up. I don't get a ton of money for any of the Urban Outfitters pieces that I have, but they do tend to sell fast, especially over on Depop. Urban Outfitters is something I do very well with on Depop. All right, next up, this is something I just grabbed for myself, a little like bang around the house t-shirt. It's just from Paige Denim, which is a very expensive brand. This probably was like 50 or 60 bucks, but it's just like a little, you know, oversized pocket tee t-shirt. I'm always in the market for some good, like high quality basics for myself. And I do love a pocket tee. I don't know what it is about a pocket tee, but I love it. But anyway, this is for myself. We don't need to talk about that for that long. Next up, I found these pants. Oh my God, I love these. So these are from Citizens of Humanity. Older Citizens of Humanity pants don't really do all that great, like skinnies or anything like this, but these are high-waisted. They've got a pleated front, ultra wide leg with the cuff there on the end. These are in like perfect condition. They're cream. Again, they're wide leg. They're very like of the moment in terms of silhouette. These were probably $300 or $400 new. Citizens of Humanity is like wildly expensive. And on the secondhand market, these pants in particular have been selling between like $75 and $100. So I'll probably get somewhere in that mix. They're a size 26, which is quite small, so they might move a little bit slower. But again, this is a style that is very in right now, and there's a ton of different like aesthetics that I can put this into. This is obviously a little bit of like menswear inspired, which is a keyword that I love to use. This looks like old money, quiet luxury. It's also very preppy. It's very like prep school. You can use Ivy League. You can use like heritage, light academia. It kind of fits into all of those aesthetics. I don't think that these will sit around for all that long, and they are just gorgeous. I love a very high-waisted wide leg pant. I think that that is such a chic look, like no matter what, but the pants have to be hemmed like just right. That's like a weird bugaboo of mine. Next up, I found this beautiful silk shirt. This is Maeve, I believe. Yeah, this is Maeve from Anthropologie. It's this beautiful like chalky blue with white flowers. This reminds me so much of the like Wedgwood Jasperware. If you know what I'm talking about, I'll put a picture of some of it right here. That's the vibe that this gives me. Anyway, this is a size 6. Again, it's 100% silk. It's in beautiful condition. Something probably, again, in that like $30 to $40 range. So gorgeous. And very, like, this feels very unusual, right? Like, this feels like a very special piece. Next up, oh, I found this, and I found it because it's linen. I don't know if you can see the weave there, but this is absolutely linen. And it's this beautiful cream blazer from Band of Outsiders. The brand itself is gone. I don't think that they exist anymore, but their stuff has a bit of a collector's market. The last piece of Band of Outsiders that I picked up, I think sold in less than a day. It sold super, super quickly, but it's all, based on tailoring and everything. But this, oh my God. The silhouette of this, the shawl collar of it all, the curved hem there. I love the back. I love a double vent back on a women's blazer. It is a size small, but I think I don't know if this is a line inside of Band of Outsiders or if this is like the name of the blazer, but it just says Boy by Band of Outsiders. Keep your eyes out for this brand, guys. This is a brand that's worth paying up for a little bit. Like the regular button-down shirts, you'll still probably see like $20, $25, so don't pay up like crazy amounts for it, but I'm excited to see how this does. This is like such a timeless but very chic silhouette. I am a bit of a sucker for a shawl collar on a tuxedo style blazer, and making it 100% linen like this, I love it so much. I very much wish that this was my size because I would keep it, but absolutely gorgeous. This was probably, I don't know, $700 or $800 new. I'll probably see, there's not a ton of these blazers out there. I'll probably see somewhere between 50 and $100 on that. Absolutely, positively gorgeous though. So next up, I found this beautiful top. This is from Joseph Ribkoff, who is a very, very expensive designer. Everything I've ever had from Joseph Ribkoff has sold for like more than I anticipated it selling for. And it's this beautiful cascade top. Like I can see the outfit that people are wearing with this top. I think Joseph Ribkoff appeals to like a more mature buyer. It's like resort wear adjacent, but it's got this little split back. It's got the most beautiful cascade front. It's a size 6 US, I think. And in case you're like ever wondering if a brand is higher end or not, typically when you see a tag that's got like 8 different countries on here with their sizes, that's usually a clue for you to pick it up and pay a little bit more attention to the piece. It's funny, there's a little bit of lipstick on the inside of this shirt. So somebody like scraped this along their face when they were taking it off. So I'll give this a bath and get that listed. But for something like this probably retailed like $200, maybe a little bit more. And on the resale market, I'll probably get somewhere between that $30 and $40 mark. The shame of it is I'm not quite sure what the material is. The materials tag has been taken out, but I think I'll be able to find this shirt and figure out what it is from maybe another listing. But I do love finding Joseph Ribkoff. I don't see it all that often, but when I do see it, especially at the bins, I'm gonna pick it up. Next up, I grabbed this little piece from Abercrombie & Fitch, and I wasn't sure if this was vintage or not, and I don't think it is. Definitely a risk that I probably would not have taken if it wasn't in the bins, but it's just a green button-down shirt, and it's got the Guinness logo there on the back, the Guinness harp here on the sleeves. This is something that I will probably get up and listed ASAP because this will be something that I'm able to sell for like St. Patrick's Day, which is coming up very, very soon. It's Abercrombie's, so it's not gonna sell for all that much. I'm gonna guess I'll probably see somewhere, between like 20, $25 on this, but I don't think that this will sit around for all that long. I also love this dark green, but Abercrombie stuff, I am still picking up the dresses. I think that their jeans are great bang for your buck. It's not something that I'm gonna be sourcing anymore unless it's something that I'm very, very sure of. But if you are in the market for jeans, figure out your size in Abercrombie and grab them. Because I think bang for your buck, they're some of the best jeans on the market right now. And you can get them super, super cheap in resale. Speaking of incredibly well-made jeans, and I don't pick up a ton of jeans, but I will always pick up a pair of jeans with the RTA logo on them. That is Road to Awe. I think that's what it's called. These are really, really unusual, but like unusual is kind of what RTA does. Like I've sold quite a few things from RTA that are like, I didn't quite understand them from a style standpoint, but like somebody obviously did. These are very long. So that tells me that they are meant to be worn stacked. If you ever have like an exceptionally long pair of jeans and you're like not quite sure if it's supposed to be a tall size, like if it's a tall size, it will say like 26 tall, or it'll say like 26 with like a 36-inch inseam, whatever it is. If it's just like a regular size and there's no like noting that it is a tall length, that generally means that they're meant to be worn stacked, which is just like a very slim kind of scrunch up the leg. Like you're not necessarily gonna see like a wide leg stacked jean. These are things that are meant to be like kind of scrunched up on the leg over a pair of sneakers or something. But they're very unusual. So they have these like side panels here. They have stripes down the side. It's like a double knee here. They are bareback, which is a term that I recently learned for jeans without pockets. So make sure you're using that if you have jeans without pockets. Very popular, of course, in the 80s. But these probably retailed like $200, and every other pair of RTA jeans that I've ever had has sold for like somewhere between 60 and $100. So definitely a label to keep your eyes out for. It is very subtle. It is black on black. But I will say that if you felt this while you were out thrifting, like you probably would have picked up on the quality. Like this denim feels luxury. You know what I'm talking about? This does not feel like a cheap pair of pants, despite the fact that it's got the most like unusual patterning. So I'll have to do a little like deep dive into these, see if I can figure out like if there's like a style name for them or whatever, but RTA is usually a slam dunk for me. Like their stuff sells great. And for me, it's been my experience that their bottoms have sold better than their tops. I think that that's what they're known for, but I've also sold several of their sweaters for incredible prices. So keep your eyes out for it. A bolo for sure. Oh, next up, this is from Rag & Bone. And Rag & Bone stuff has come down a bit in resale value, but you know, like sourcing at the bins makes it an easy decision, right? Even if you get like $20, $30 for it and you paid a bins price for it, that's still a great profit. But that is Rag & Bone, and this is a black mock neck, midi length turtleneck dress. So this is like such a no-brainer for me. This is a very popular style. It's very minimalist. This can go capsule wardrobe. This is something that could be 15 years old for all I know, but it doesn't matter because it's a very timeless style. Ooh, I don't think I ever noticed the buttons. Look at the little buttons on the sleeve. How cute is that? But either way, something like this on the resale market, this was probably about $400. Rag & Bone is one of those brands that is crazy, crazy, crazy expensive. But I'll probably see, you know, somewhere between 40 and $80 on this. And again, with it being a very minimalist look, a very classic minimalist kind of piece, that should sell in no time flat. Oh, this is an interesting thing. So I grabbed this because they felt very interesting. This is a pair of knit like sweater pants in this fun pink and green, which I love the pink and green color combo. And this is from a brand called Another Girl. And they are UK based. I have to do a little bit more research into them like as a company, but I know that they are sold. There are some pieces sold on like Free People. There are some pieces sold on Urban. And some of them resell for crazy prices. I've seen some of their pants, I want to say, that were reselling in like the $80 range. These are 100% cottons, which is nice, 100% organic cotton. And they're beautifully made. So Weird and Well Made, you know I'm in, but I have to do a little bit more research on the brand to know a little bit more about them, but I was very surprised when I did a quick search for the brand and saw what some of the sold comps were. Like I was legitimately surprised. This is the kind of thing that I would expect to like sell at like bread and butter, you know, the $20, $30 mark, with some pieces maybe hitting like the 50s, but to see like the sold comps on these be as high as they were was a genuine surprise. But I'll try to report back when they do sell, but in the meantime, keep your eyes out for it. If you're seeing it in the regular thrift, obviously do a quick comp on what you have in your hand. Make sure that the investment makes sense, but if you're seeing it in the bins, for sure pick it up. Next up, and this is another thing that I'm gonna have to get listed ASAP. This is a vintage Obermeyer soft shell ski coat. It's a size 14, which is great to find. A lot of times you cannot find vintage ski wear in larger sizes. Like a lot of the times they're like a size small or medium and that is it. So I think that this will fly out of my closet. It's got shoulder pads like to the gods. These are so, so thick. It's a black nylon, but it's got a zebra print kind of hit inside the hood here and also like inside the placket. So, you know, generally in terms of vintage ski wear, people are looking for the big, bright, bold colors. But again, as you get into those larger sizes, it gets to be a little bit like the pickings are much slimmer, even on like the resale market where you're paying up a little bit for it. So I think that this will sell in no time flat. The important thing for me is to get that listed ASAP before the mountains start to close, because that is something that I will use Gaper Day as a keyword. I will use opening day, closing day, and pond skimming. And with this actually being a soft shell, this is not an insulated jacket. This is something that I think would go really well for like a pond skimming day. And if you don't know what pond skimming is, which makes sense if you don't ski. It's basically at the end of season, as all the snow melts off the trails, it tends to form like little ponds at the bottom. So what they'll do is they'll have like a pond skimming competition where people will kind of ski down the trail and they will like basically water ski across the pond at the bottom. And it's a big party and it's always a ton of fun and people face plant and it's all that. But a lot of times you'll have a lot of people that wear kind of like funky vintage ski gear to pond skimming. There's also the other camp of people who will just wear like bikinis and like swim trunks to it. So it's anytime you have like a big party day on a ski mountain, these kind of vintage pieces get picked up and they are like cleared out of thrift stores in mountain towns ASAP. So they have become hard to get your hands on. And it's been my experience, at least, that they tend to sell very, very quickly. Let me know if you have had the same experience with vintage ski wear. Like, what was it? How fast did it sell? And how much did you get for it? All right, next up, this is a little shirt from Wild Fox. And Wild Fox is one of those brands, like this was huge in like the mid 2000s. These kind of shirts, they're like this ultra soft knit and people go crazy over it. These still sell very, very well. That is the logo you're looking for there. Now, they're not going for anywhere near what they used to go for back in the day, but I'll still probably see like 25, 30 bucks on this. I am always surprised by what I get on Wild Fox stuff today. Like always, always, always surprised. But I thought that this was so cute. I love the colors, I love the floral, and of course it is very soft and people just love it. This kind of has like a cult following to it. So pick it up if you see it in the bins. I mean, it's something if you're looking at $6.99 at the regular thrift, probably not. Like I certainly wouldn't be a buyer there, but just run a comp for what you've got. But if you see it in the bins for $1 or $2, grab it. Next up, this is from White Fox. And White Fox is one of those kind of like I don't want to call it a fast fashion brand, but they're out of Australia. They make like a lot of sweatshirts and stuff like this. I love their sweat shorts. Just like if you're ever looking for the perfect pair of sweat shorts, they have pockets. They're high-waisted enough. They're just long enough in the leg. They're great. So if you have been trying to find the perfect pair, I recommend. And they're not crazy expensive, but their pieces sell quite well for me. This is, first of all, a size extra large. And this used to be part of a set. There was a matching like bra that you would wear underneath and it had like this mesh on it. And you know, on the surface, it's a bummer that you don't have the matching bra, but this is a size extra large. And the thing about a size extra large is that you are dealing with girls with bra sizes that vary wildly. So I have a feeling that many people who are a size extra large that would be looking to wear this would probably be wearing this over like a bathing suit because this is the front. This is not the back. This is the front and it's meant to have like a visible thing here. So I will list this probably more as a swim cover up, but it is maxi length, 100% like a beach dress. I could see this on a girl at like a beach club, you know, in Vegas or in Bali or something like that. I'm not quite sure what I'll get for this. I've seen the full set selling between like $50 and $80. I think $80 probably being like, you know, new with tags, but I'll still probably see somewhere between 30 and 40 bucks on this. I think it's so cute. It's like double layer mesh. Can you tell that it's sheer? I don't know if you're seeing me through that, but this is like a double layer mesh, but it's still sheer and in perfect condition. But like I said, I don't think it's that big of a loss that it doesn't have the bra part to it. Cause I just like, at least I've never seen like a stock underwire kind of thing that would fit me. So, but I don't think it's that much of a loss for that piece, especially not at that size. Next up, this is from J. Crew, and I had to get this. It's this beautiful butter yellow cocktail dress. And I just figure with wedding season coming along and butter yellow still being a really big color, this is a one shoulder. You have ruffle on the top and on the side here. This is silk chiffon. It is new with tags. It's a size 6. It's J. Crew collection. And there's, I don't know if you can tell, there's some beading on some of these flowers. This is just beautiful. But between the color and the fact that it's brand new with tags and it's silk and all of that, like this is wedding guest dress, this is Easter dress, this is cocktail dress, this is formal dress. This has a lot of potential keywords and it's such a flattering cut. This kind of like swoop to the side is so flattering, especially if you're somebody who's a little bit hippie. This will like accentuate those hips in like the best possible way. But anyway, J. Crew, a brand that I leave behind a lot of times, which always kills me because I love their stuff. But something like this, I just think is so dang cute. Cannot wait to like steam this out and throw it on the mannequin and get some pictures, because this is something that will look better with a body shape under it. I'm not quite sure what I'll get for this. Probably somewhere around 50 bucks. I'm gonna guess probably around 50 bucks. This probably retailed like close to $300. But again, with the time that I'll be getting that listed, I think it's like the perfect time to get that listed, because we're right before wedding season, right before Easter, right before all of those spring holidays and events. So next up, this is a label I love to find. Most of the stuff that I've found from them has been vintage though. And I don't know how new this is, but I know it's new enough for them to have a website because the website's on the label. This is from the Territory Ahead, which is a brand that does a lot of like real natural fiber clothing, kind of leaning into the like outdoorsy utility type style. Like I literally just listed and sold a dress from the Territory Ahead. It was vintage from the 90s, and it sold in less than I think 12 hours of me listing it. It sold so quickly. But this is a men's shirt. It's like a beautiful textured cotton. I think this is cotton. Yep, 100% cotton, made in India. It's a size extra large. So, I mean, it's never a brand that sells for a ton of money. The dress that I just sold, that I told you about, sold, I think, for $37. And for something like this, I'll probably see between $20 and $30. But like anything I've ever listed from the Territory Ahead that has that kind of like outdoorsy, hiking kind of vibe to it. This, I wouldn't quite call this gorpcore. Gorpcore leans a little bit more into like the technical outdoors wear. This leans a little bit more into like the natural outdoors wear. But anything from there has sold very well for me. And I'm gonna assume it's because people have like an affinity for the brand itself. I feel pretty strongly that this is a brand where the brand sells it, not necessarily what it is. Which it could do on its own because the pieces are beautifully made. But I do think that people have an affinity for the Territory Ahead itself. Next up, this is a brand I want you to watch for. Absolutely. This is Wild Fang. And this is a brand that you will probably miss if you weren't familiar with the brand. This is a woman's shirt, and they make these kind of like menswear inspired button-down shirts. Like this is what they're known for, these button-down short sleeve shirts with like kind of wild patterns. And every piece I've ever had from Wild Fang has sold so fast for a great price. I don't know if they do limited edition prints and that's part of it, but people who love Wild Fang like live in Wild Fang. I've got a friend who I don't think I've seen her in anything that wasn't Wild Fang in probably like 8 or 9 years. Like it's just been kind of her vibe. They're pretty dang expensive. I want to say that their button-down shirts are about $80 retail. I'll see somewhere $30 and $45 on this. I have to do a little bit more research into like the pattern and all that kind of stuff, but anytime I see that label, I jump on it. Definitely something to like comfortably pay up for in the thrift. Do not leave these pieces behind. This is a BOLO brand for sure. Next up, this is something that I will always grab when I see it. This is a vintage Ryder Cup hat. It's from the Ryder Cup, and you see there it says Valderrama, which is the golf course in Spain, and that dates this hat to 1997. So the fact that it's 90s vintage is one part of the appeal. The fact that it is vintage golf is another part of the appeal. The fit of this hat is something that I think a lot of people look for. The other thing that I think is kind of cool that people will enjoy is the fact that it's got the USA network on the back. So I feel like this was maybe something that was given to like the broadcast team. I've seen other versions of this hat that don't have the USA Network thing on the back. So I'm interested to do a little bit more research on it. I love trying to figure out the narrative of vintage pieces like this, but I'll probably see somewhere like 30, 35 bucks on this. I've gotten about that end up on certain vintage golf hats. Vintage like golf tournament hats in particular sell quite well for me, as long as they're like well-known golf tournaments. Now, you know, obviously the Masters is like the king. Like that's very distinguishable. People pay big dollars for like modern merch from the Masters. But like the Ryder Cup is a tournament a lot of people know, US Open, stuff like that. But keep your eyes out for it. I'll always pick this stuff up. Will I pay like $7 for that? Probably not, but at the bins, I'm always checking hats for stuff like that. Next up, this was definitely a style-based pickup. This is from ASOS. I will never know how to pronounce that, but the reason I picked this up is the style. I think it is so pretty. So it is this blousey, very groovy pattern. This feels very like 70s groovy, you know, both in the color and the actual print. And it's like a surplice bodice. It's fully lined and it is a maxi length dress. I just thought that this was so pretty. This is not something that I'm going to get a ton of money for. ASOS is just like at the onset not super expensive. It's a US size 10, but I'll probably see somewhere between 25 and 35 bucks for this. Again, based on style alone. Lots of keywords. This is very boho, it's groovy, it's 70s retro, it's 70s inspired. Lots and lots of ways to keyword this, but I just think it's so pretty. I mean, like, I cannot resist this kind of print. This feels like a blend between like Pucci and Peter Max to me, and I don't know how else to describe that. So pretty. Something I just could not leave behind. Oh, next up, this is something I grabbed. I think that this is like the original Elizabeth and James logo back in the day. I love that it looks basically like it was written on with like a whiteout pen, but it's this open front kimono. So it's like a black straight up kimono piece. It is a silk blend jersey. So it's rayon, nylon, and silk. And it's very simple. This is something that I'll use, you know, minimalist, anything Elizabeth and James. Elizabeth and James, like the early days of Elizabeth and James, was really kind of considered the row light. Like the styles were very similar, very minimalist, very beautifully made, but where something like this from Elizabeth and James would have been like $300 or $400. It was not a cheap brand in any way, shape, or form. The same thing from the row would have been like mostly silk and like $3,000, right? So Elizabeth and James was like their diffusion line, but it was still quite pricey. And there's a lot of people who love their stuff, but this in particular will go well with like boho just because of the silhouette. It's just very drapey, kind of short sleeve cardigan. It's something that'll go with minimalist and capsule wardrobe and topper piece. It'll also go for like swim cover up because it is open front and a kimono and short sleeve. Like this is something I would wear as a swim cover up, but I want to do a little bit more research on this logo in particular because I've never seen it other than the block letters that go across. And that's very similar to the one that Kohl's uses. Kohl's has licensed the name and they're making the pieces now. And that's not necessarily something to pick up. They don't resell all that well. So if you find a piece that is that white label with the black block letters, run the RN number. If it is a Kohl's piece, it will come up as Kohl's. I'm gonna guess that this is a very old label. I can't imagine this kind of like screen printed large label would be something that they could do on many pieces. So I'm gonna guess that that was maybe something that they did for a short amount of time and then axed it for a more standardized label. We'll find out. Next up, this is just a little Free People piece. This is a little boho romper. And believe it or not, these rompers still do quite well for me. They don't do as well as they used to, right? Like this is not 2016, but it's blue sun, off shoulder, cinch waist, little romper. This will still probably go $30, $35 for me. Maybe a little bit more. I have had some that have gone for a little bit more. It's a size medium. It's got a nice open back and it's in great condition. Probably not something I would be a player on at $9.99 at the thrift store, but it is something that I will be a player on. As long as the condition is good, I do urge you to like very thoroughly check anything like this because I found a lot of these that have been thrashed, but definitely something that I am a player on at the bins only. Next up, I found this gorgeous little silk tunic dress. This is from Babaton, which is an Aritzia brand, in that beautiful burgundy color of the season. This will be a nice transitional piece as we go into spring, but it's 100% silk. It's got a tie waist. It's got a little curved hem. Super, super cute. Size medium. Babaton is super duper expensive. It has come down in popularity in terms of resale value, but something like this, I'll still probably see like 40 bucks on. It's got little pockets. I just think it's super cute. So between the fact that it's silk and it's burgundy and it's nice like basic style, it should still sell very well for me. So. Oh, next up, this is the most beautiful jacket. And it's not a very well-known brand, but it's this beautiful cream nubby tweed. And it's got a little like frayed edge collar there. The brand on this is Stella Forest. And I haven't been able to find too much about the brand. Please, if you are familiar with it, let me know what you know. Obviously, I'll do a little bit more digging on it, but it does seem like it's fairly expensive. I want to say that this was probably like in the $300-400 range. And I think just style-wise, I think that this will sell just based on the style of it. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's boho, it's beautifully made, it's 100% cotton, it's light jacket. Now is the time for lightweight jackets like this that are transitional from winter into spring. But I'm gonna guess, like, again, just based on style alone, that I'll see somewhere like 50, 60 bucks on this. If I can figure out a little bit more about the brand and it is something that resells well, you know, this could go into the hundreds. But either way, I just thought that this was so beautiful and so beautifully made that, like, I'm so interested to know more about this brand, because if this is what one of their jackets feels like, I would love to know what some of their shirts look like. All right, we are getting there, guys. Oh, next up, I found this cute little jacket. This is from Cotopaxi. And Cotopaxi is a brand you should keep your eyes out for sure. Kind of hard to see there, but their whole thing, they were a Utah-based business, so I was probably kind of keyed into them on the earlier side. Their whole thing, at least when they got started, I don't know if they're still doing it today, is that they make bags and stuff like that out of remnant fabrics from, like, I guess other brands that they would buy remnant fabrics from, which is great. You know, it's reducing all of that waste. But they have a bit of a cult following. People really love them. In fact, I have a very similar jacket from them. It's like my little packable raincoat. Actually, it's the same size, and I think I like these colors better. Hold on. I don't know if this is a newer version, but I'll tell you one thing. I like the colors a lot better, so I may sell this one and keep this one. Win, win, win. Put that on this pile. I'll put you down here. But either way, for something like that, they're not like crazy expensive. I want to say that these were like 70 or 80 bucks. They're like a little lightweight windbreaker, kind of like rain shell. So on the resale market, I'll probably see about 40 bucks for that. But that was a win, because I got this on sale and I never liked the colors. I kind of hate this brown a lot, and I hate it next to the red. So that was a happy accident. Keep your eyes out for Cotopaxi, guys. Also in the outdoors world and Gorpcore world is Arc'teryx. This is a brand I almost never see in the bins or in the thrift, and I found this in the bins. It's just a little short sleeve, technical poplin shirt. It's got a little bit of stretch to it. It's a trim fit. I'm sure I can find the name of this shirt, but Arc'teryx is so expensive. This probably retailed over $100 for just like a little button down shirt, but they're made beautifully well. I mean, like, look at the way that the button is connected. That's like a webbed piece of fabric. There is no threads breaking and popping a button in the middle of a strenuous hike with anything from Arc'teryx. Like, their quality is outrageous, but it is a brand to keep your eyes out for. I don't know if you can see this because it's tonal, but this little logo, it's like a little skeleton of an animal, is an easily identifiable way to spot an Arc'teryx piece. Usually it's got a little bit more contrast, but because it's on the back of a shirt, it's tonal. But I'll probably see somewhere 30 to 40 bucks on this, and guaranteed this will sell in like a day or two. Everything I've ever had from Arc'teryx sells so quick because they do retail so high. And in the same vein as Arc'teryx is another brand to keep your eyes out for, and that is Outerknown. I couldn't believe it. These must have come from the same closet because I found them right next to each other. But Outerknown is co-owned by Kelly Slater. Actually, one of you guys told me that. Thank you very much. And it makes perfect sense. They do a lot of like organic basics. They do beautiful button-down shirts. This is almost a little bit like a flannel. It's like a really worn-in flannel. But they do like blanket shirts, and I've sold like one-piece jumpsuits from women, and they always sell very well for a very good price. The only thing that I've ever had from Outerknown that hasn't sold super quickly is like a men's size extra small shirt. Everything else is sold really within a week, and I'll probably see like $35 to $45 on this. It is a BOLO brand for sure, and one to keep your eyes out for if you like this kind of stuff, because they're beautifully made and their textiles are always gorgeous. I've actually got 4 pieces left. This is just a little Lululemon long sleeve shirt. I'm not quite sure how old this is, but it is size small. It still has the tag on it. And it's just like a classic tech shirt. These shirts still sell very well for me. Not for anywhere near as much as they used to, but I want to say that these are like 90 bucks or maybe $100 new. And I'll still probably see $30, $35 for this. And again, no doubt quickly. Actually, this might not be Swiftly. I think this is a men's shirt now that I'm looking at it. But either way, these tech workout shirts sell well for me. So something I'll pick up, again, not something that I'm necessarily going to be paying up for in the regular thrift store, especially if they've jacked up a Lululemon piece, because I know a lot of thrift stores are. And I'll tell you that right now, for the most part, for most pieces, especially leggings, like it is almost certainly not going to be worth it to pay like $19.99 for a pair of Lululemon leggings, because you're generally going to sell most leggings in that like $30 to $40 range if they move. I have a lot of Lululemon leggings that I still have from, back when I used to pick them up really frequently that haven't moved. So do with that information what you will, but I would strongly recommend against paying up, especially for Lululemon leggings. The jackets, like the scuba stuff like that, that'll still get you a good price, but basic workout gear has dropped significantly. So that for me is a play that I'm only making at the bins. Next up, another Babaton piece, a big oversized linen Kelly green shirt. It's a size large, so this is definitely like an intentionally oversized piece. So I'll just have to find the actual name of it, but a brightly colored linen oversized piece is always on the menu for me. Babaton, again, is an in-house Aritzia brand, very, very expensive retail. And again, it's one of those brands that has come down a little bit in popularity, at least on the resale market. And I think that is because there are more and more Aritzia stores around the United States. They're a Canadian-based brand. So for a while there were only like a few stores in the States and they were very popular. So the resale market was red hot on them. But I'll still probably see $35, $45 on this. And I love their utility shirts and I love their effortless pants. Something fierce. They're like my very favorite. And as soon as it cools off a little bit, you'll see those utility shirts come out. I wear them all the time. Just two more pieces. And this is one, oh my God, I love it so much. So I ran into my friends, Irene and Alfredo from the Opal Hanger over on Whatnot. If you are on Whatnot and you are not following them, you should go and follow them. They're the absolute sweetest people. And she knows how much I love vintage. And just as I was leaving this day, she gave me this unbelievable little, can you handle this? I can't handle this. It's from Mr. Robert. I mean, look at that tag. Iconic. It's this beautiful brown and navy blue plaid. It's got the little tie neck. It's got blouson sleeves that have like a chunky cuff to them. It is a trapeze silhouette. I mean, this is so like 1960s, 1970s. I cannot even handle it. Size-wise, I'm not sure. I'm gonna say that this is probably like a size medium. I'll have to get some measurements on it. But something like this, I think I'll probably see somewhere between $60 and $100 on. This is just, it's flawless condition. There are no stains, there are no rips, there are no snags. It is distinctly of the era. The only thing missing is a little hook right here, which I will sew right on. I love it so much. And it's one of those things that I'm not sure if this will sell to somebody who's going to wear it for themselves or if it's something that I'm going to sell into like a wardrobe department or a costume closet, but I love it so much. I mean, this is something that I can use, obviously vintage and retro. It's got a little bit of like secretary chic to it. It's got a little Mad Men flavor to it. It's got a lot of like characterization that I can use to keyword this. But I cannot wait to get this listed and get this into somebody else's hands. I don't think that this will sit around for all that long. I think it's pretty iconic. And I can 100% see a million women today that can make a gorgeous modern look out of this dress. I love it so much. Thank you, Irene. I think you know exactly how much I love this dress. So cute. And then finally, oh my God, this is a label that I haven't seen in a very long time. And it's something that I picked up because like it just felt so luxe. This is like an ultra lightweight knit, a little bit of a pointel, I don't know if I'm saying that right, pattern to it. And this is from La Perla, not one of their sub-brands, from La Perla itself. And it is in beautiful condition. So it's got a cowl front and it's got a little racer back. But look at how the strap is made. It's just netting and it's got this zigzag stitch. I don't know what kind of stitch that is. I don't think that that's a tricot stitch. That looks like something I've never seen. It almost looks like embroidery over it. It's so beautiful and so special. And La Perla is one of those brands. I mean, this probably was like $300 new. So expensive. Look at that lace inset. I cannot. So I'm not sure what I'll get on the resale market for this. The materials tag is taken out. I think that this is either linen or silk. Like if you look really closely, the threads have a little bit of a slub to it. I mean, even if it's just like lightweight cotton, it's beautifully done, but I need to do a little bit of research on this. It is in overall excellent condition, and I will probably see like somewhere between like $60 and $100 on this. La Perla is very, very expensive and a brand that people know and love, and I just thought that this was so pretty. And the best part about this is not only is it La Perla and beautifully made and all the things that come with it being La Perla, but it's also white, so it had, you know, trousseau, bridal, bachelorette, etc. Like this could just as easily be a swim cover up as it could be a little nightgown. I am always excited when I see this brand, and I never, ever get to see it. But guys, that is it. That is the haul for today. I think I found some really good things. Like I wish I could have spent all day at the bins that day, but I had to get going. And hopefully all of my buds that were there scooped up all of the goods for the rest of the day. But all in retail value on all of this stuff is about $7,000 or $8,000. And in terms of resale value, I think I've got somewhere between $1,300 and $1,500 here. Like for not a huge haul without a big, you know, big flashy piece that I'm gonna get $200 or $300 for, this was a really, really good week. Lots of great BOLO brands, lots of good basics, lots of cool style-based pieces, and definitely some brands that I do not get to see. And obviously that vintage dress is just the cutest thing in the whole world. So I would call that a pretty dang good day. But guys, I appreciate you all so much taking a little bit of your time to hang with me. It always makes me so happy to have somebody to yak with and nerd out about some of these things with. But guys, if you had fun, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, I hope you have the most beautiful week. Happy hunting, and I will see you all in the next one.